Hello, everyone. I'm back, video 3 of my New Year's challenge. Glad to be here with you again. It hasn't scared me away yet, so I'm going to continue showing up until I reach this goal, hopefully. So thanks for joining me again for another live video. And today I thought I would share with you, given it's the start of the new year, share with you my process for goal setting. I absolutely love this. And can't lie, I geek out at this time of year. I absolutely love thinking big, imagining for the future, and reassessing if I feel like I'm on the right path for me or not. So I have lots to say in this area, but I also want to just acknowledge up front that it's important that you find a process that works for you. So I am by no means saying that the process I'm going to share with you that works for me is the only way. So just take it as food for thought. Maybe it sparks some ideas for you. But it's important you find a process that works well for you. So my process is a little bit intense, but what I like to do is, first of all, I like to separate my time, taking some time alone before I do a process with somebody else. So typically I'll spend at least a day where I'm just with myself, with my journal, notepad and paper, just giving myself time to think. And I'd highly encourage you for each stage of this process to get out of your normal environment. In the past, I've gone with friends to rent a batch on an island just specifically to do goal setting, to be out of our normal environment. We made a bit of a holiday of it, a little vacation. This year I went to a park, so it's in the Southern Hemisphere, it's summer right now, so it was quite comfortable to be outside. But just being in a different environment, no computer, no typical kind of constraints to influence, just to allow yourself to think big, to think differently. So I like to spend a little bit of time alone first, and then I like to go through a bit of a process with somebody else. So in this case, this year, I went through this process with my partner, and he's quite into this kind of stuff too, so it works quite well. But we split our process up into 3 different sessions over 3 different days. So we had a session first where we did reflection. Now, reflection is often overlooked, but so important. And it really hit home for me this year, particularly because both my partner and I had the same experience. When we look back on 2017, we were struck so many times with the feeling, oh my gosh, that was this year that we did that. Oh my gosh. It feels like that was years ago now. And I think that really emphasizes why reflection is so important, is that we can so easily just move on. We adapt, we change, we grow, we have a new normal, and we forget exactly how far we come. And reflection is so important for us to look back and acknowledge, wow, how much have things changed? How much have I grown? How much have I shifted? So this is something, and it's not even just a once a year thing. So I'd encourage you. The research shows reflection is so important for learning and growth throughout the year. And we don't make enough time or space for it nowadays. We're bombarded with information constantly. And if there's constantly information going in, if you're not creating reflection space to be able to synthesize that, to make connections, to store that information that's coming into long-term memory, then you're not gaining the full potential from coming into contact with information. So there's lots of research out there if you want to dive into it, but reflection is so important. So that was the first step of our process this year. Then in the second day, we set aside some time to just think big, no constraints. So we split these days up because they all kind of require different kinds of thinking. So before we get into any kind of goal setting, planning, specific timings, things like that, we wanted to just think big. So the kinds of questions we were asking ourselves on this think big day were, what do I want? It's really checking in. Am I in alignment with the course that I'm on? Is there something else that's calling to me at this particular point in my life that I want to give attention to, that I want to try out? We also did an exercise asking ourselves, if we weren't on the current course that we're on, what else might we try? Be open to exploring, right? Was there a childhood dream perhaps that we think would be cool to get back to give a go? One of the things that we came up with was, doing like a survival skills course would be pretty cool, learning how to make fire and, how to survive in the wilderness, those kinds of things that we feel so far away from in our day-to-day lives working behind the computer, so just brainstorming what other possibilities are there, right? So getting out of your day-to-day bubble, and that kind of the monotony of your normal routine, and thinking more laterally, what else is out there? What's possible? So that was fun, and kind of maybe planted some seeds for perhaps course correcting, incorporating some different things into our plans going forward. And then on the third day, we did the actual goal setting and planning process. So this was where we got really specific about what are the domains of life in our life at the moment that are really important. What do we want to focus on? What are the specific goals we'd like to achieve in the next year in each of those domains? What are the milestones that are going to lead up to that? What are the timings? When are these things going to be completed? So creating a bit of a map like that. I'm a big spreadsheet geek, so I do have all of my my goals and my milestones and everything in an Excel spreadsheet. But going and putting that on the computer was the final step once all of the big thinking and so forth had happened, already on the Post-it notes with the markers and white pages and so forth. So really allowing for maximum creativity and big picture thinking. So that's the process, right, that I like to follow right at the start of the year, the end of one year, the start of the next. But as a process of accountability throughout the year, this is something that my partner and I have set up for ourselves, is every month we have what we call a strategy day. And that's a day that's in advance booked out of our calendars once a month throughout the year. And that's where we come together to review our goals. So to check in on progress, to do reflection for the month prior and see how we've gone. We also do financial check-ins to see how we're progressing, what our accounts look like on a monthly basis as well. It's also just great for accountability, because you've got somebody else that you're reporting back to, that you can share your wins and your learnings with. And it's a deliberate time that we make for working, not just in our businesses like we do every day, but on our businesses. Are we heading in the right direction? Are there any different decisions that we need to make? Does something need to pivot? Does something need to shift? So those strategy days, having those in the calendar in advance is really useful as well. So, and I'll just show you just for reference. So this is blank because it's my 2018 one, but this is what my reflection sheet looks like. So it's literally the year on a page. So this is so fantastic just to get the highlights of the wins and the learnings month by month, so that at the end of the year, my 2017 one is a mess because it's all filled in, but it's great to just kind of see on a page, wow, look at all that I've accomplished. But remember those wins, reflect on them again and again, so you don't forget all the great things that you've accomplished throughout the year. So that's just an example. That's something that works for me. I love making it visual. I love having it tangible, and being able to get the dopamine hit each time I get to check something off or record a win and reflect on that. So those are some ideas for you. Hopefully that's helpful. And if you have any tips and tricks that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. So feel free to add those in, and I'll be back with another video for you again very soon. Have a good one.